Hey guys, and welcome to Chap'S Movie Reviews. That's right, I said movie reviews this time. We're going to be reserving the title of roast for those truly awful pieces of cinema. Not even cinema, just those awful pieces of garbage. Those terrible blights on the world that... Enough of that. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most surprising horror films I've seen in recent memory. It came out last year in 2016, but I haven't gotten a chance to see it until recently, and I'm so glad that I did. The movie's called The Autopsy of Jane Doe. So this movie completely flew under the radar for me. I didn't see any trailers. No, you know what? Actually, no. I saw one, and it's because my wife showed it to me. Now, mind you, my wife is not a film buff. She likes movies. She watches movies, but she has like no film memory. So if she is to remember a line from a movie, or if she is to remember a scene from a movie, it must have been really good in her opinion. And the fact that she remembered this trailer and took the time to show it to me made an impression on her. And when I saw the trailer, it caught my attention, but I didn't get a chance to actually watch it for a couple months later. But when I finally watched it, guys, this movie is excellent. So this movie was written by Ian B. Goldberg, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Richard Nang, who are known mostly for TV production. And it was also directed by Andre Overdahl. Now, Andre Overdahl was the director of 2010's Troll Hunter, another greatly underappreciated film. And this one stars Brian Cox, who you may remember from X2, X-Men United. He played Stryker, or from the Bourne films. And Emile Hirsch, the speed racer himself, and star of Alpha Dog. So in this movie, Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch play a father-son mortician coroner team who, at the end of a very long day of doing what morticians do, they get one final body coming directly from the sheriff himself, who tells him that he needs to have a cause of death by the morning. So they need to work through the night to find out what happened to this poor girl, what happened to this Jane Doe. But the more they start learning about this Jane Doe, the more weird and creepy stuff starts happening in their mortuary. Now, like I said before, I really like this movie, and this movie could have been really stupid, but it wasn't. It played itself really smart, with a couple exceptions that I'll get into, but for the most part, this movie really knows what it's doing. That's one of the things I love about it. The film has an honest ability to keep you guessing the entire time. You never truly know what is happening and what is real, if they're hallucinating, if anything is... You don't know. Even at the end of this movie, when they give you kind of a resolution and you think it's going to go a certain way, whoa. Another thing that this movie has going for it is these characters are likable and they are smart. They are smart characters. They are doing the very things that I would do or you would do in this situation. They are reacting as we would, with a few small exceptions. Actually, there is one bigger exception that I could get into, but I can't for spoiler's sake. But for the most part, these characters are smart, and they are doing what you and I would do. I mentioned before, the acting in this movie is amazing. Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch kill it in this film, specifically Brian Cox. He really brings it. There is a scene in this movie in a crematorium that involves Emile Hirsch, Brian Cox, and a kitty cat. And I've never seen more emotion and more story be conveyed just by someone's look on their face than in any other film. And it was one of the most amazing performances I've seen from Brian Cox in a long, long time. Not to say, like I said, Emile Hirsch is great too. He doesn't really have like a standout moment that I can really think about. But Brian Cox, yeah, no, he does have that, for me, that one standout scene that it had me. Now, as far as the crew is concerned, they did an amazing job of making this small set feel big. And I don't mean big, like I big in the sense of size. I knew that it was a small space because this whole movie is happening in this basement mortuary they have under their funeral home. And the whole time in this movie, they are there. And even though it's not the biggest space, it never felt small to me. It never felt like we were going in the same corridors over and over. Even though we were, I never truly felt like we were going in the same places. And just the way that they filmed it, the way that they had their lighting, like no hallway really felt like the same hallway. And even if it was the same hallway, they made it feel different. Now, having said all those great things, there are a few things that I do not like about this movie. Starting with the fact that this movie has jump scares in it for the sake of jump scares, and they're not good. They're just, if you're gonna be scary, be scary. A loud noise and a hand, or a loud noise and a cat, or a loud noise and someone saying hi, it's not scary. It's just cheap. It's cheap. Don't do it. There's another thing that I didn't really like. There's a really big exposition-heavy scene towards the end of this movie that it just seemed too convenient. I understand how they got to the conclusion that they got, and I understood the steps into which they got to that conclusion, but in the real world, you would have gone through several conclusions and ruled out several other things before you would have gotten to the conclusion they got to. It just seemed too quick, too convenient, like, let's wrap this up. So, I didn't really like that. Now, lastly, this is a message for the production company that released this film. You did a great job, but you left it open for a sequel. Don't. Just don't. Leave it as it is. This movie's great. This movie's fantastic. Give it a couple years. I guarantee you it will be a cult classic. This movie will get a following. I promise you. But don't sequelize it. Now, I know I did say before that I like the fact that these characters are smart, and I still do. I don't go back on that. But there is one exception to this. And these characters, towards the middle of this movie, when stuff starts going down, they're freaking out, but they're just not, like, there's certain moments where they're not freaking out nearly enough. Like, if this was happening to me or anybody, like, there would be a lot more freaking out than there is. And there's not enough of that, but I guess we wouldn't want a movie where people are hysterical and freaking out for the entire duration of the film, so maybe I guess it's not a big deal, but for me, I just had to bring it up. All things aside, guys, I love this movie. I think this is one of the best movies I've seen in 2017. I knew it came out in 2016, and if I had been doing movie reviews in 2016, I probably would have put it on some kind of top 10 list, but sadly I wasn't. I do think this is one of the best movies I've seen in 2017, and I recommend you guys go see it. Buy it on Blu-ray, buy it on DVD, Amazon, download it off iTunes. However you can get it. Support this movie. This is a good movie. Don't make a sequel, people. Don't make a sequel, though. Just don't. You got to do, find this movie, support this movie. This is a great film. And thanks you guys for watching so much. Like, favorite, comment, subscribe so we can keep going and keep doing this. And we'll see you guys later. Thanks, guys.